So 48 hours ago, I made this video all on the RMT update, and it got a ton of comments. And I noticed there were a lot of the same comments, a lot of concerns. And in today's video, I just want to answer those comments and concerns. But don't worry, if I put up your comment, I definitely took your name away from there. I hid it because there are a lot of psychopaths on the internet. I know that's crazy to hear, but it's true. So today, we're just going to be answering your concerns, your comments, open up a new kind of line of dialogue. Also, now that I've had time to think about this change and I talked to the community about it and what their issues were, I just kind of want to give you what my feelings are now with the update after 48 hours. So the video is pretty spicy. There's a lot of my opinions on here that you might not agree with. But again, start commenting and I'll make another video like this. So let's just jump into the comments. The first one is saying, so now the keybind to drop your backpack to fight a fast PvP play without extra weight is useless, and we don't have that mechanic available no longer. Nice, what's next? No more search for a group. I just don't know when the last time I had a non-found in raid item hanging out in my backpack was, you know, and if I did, let's just say I did, it's probably, you know, one or two items, and they're probably one by one, maybe at most one by two. You can put that in your pockets or in your rig if it's a 1x2. I don't see this scenario happening other than once in the bluest of moons. So I just can't see this really affecting you that often, if at all. It's like killing a meta. A new meta will resurface, the RMT fools will just find something else to sell. This comment is 100% right. Like, when it comes to money or someone's business, they'll always figure out a way around it. But I think what BSG is hoping is that it's so hard now, and you might have to take so many extra steps or so many extra, you know, hours to get what you need to do, that maybe the cheaters are just like, you know what, this isn't worth it anymore. This is taking way too much time. And maybe it gets rid of a certain percentage of the cheater base. I think that the cheater problem is extending past the RMT realm. The game is getting big enough to where there are cheaters just doing it for the lulz. Yeah, there are definitely cheaters that are just trying to grief people. They just do it because they just don't care and they want to ruin your day, for sure. The one thing I did talk about in the other video, though, is about a year ago, Nikita was talking about how they aren't banning cheaters like right away. Like, even if they, you know, flag a cheater, they're actually following them around and seeing what they're doing. So they must have done this for a while, and they noticed that you know, probably a significant portion of the people that are cheating are RMTers. So they're just saying, like, let's just say 50% of the cheaters are RMTers. So if they can, you know, focus on this 50%, make it harder on them, maybe some of them will eventually leave. This one kind of connects with the last one, so I'll just go on it briefly. I think the real world traders are not as bad as everyone thinks. This will harm a lot more legit players than what it will prevent. Again, BSG probably is looking at the stats and they're taking a calculated risk, and they're saying, yeah, this is for sure worth it. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, but I think we just have to trust BSG and the data they've collected and just know that there's probably a lot more than we think. This one is a little bit longer. So we got find and raid to stop RMT. It didn't work and we're stuck with find and raid. Now we're getting this. Surprise, it's not going to work, but we'll be stuck with it too. There's no stopping RMT, and the best thing they could do is slow it down by making it where you can only invite friends, putting restriction on how many friends you can have, and restrictions on how quickly you can add them. That's so much simpler and less impactful on the actual gameplay. Fucking regular players over to stop cheaters isn't acceptable, and it's not even stopping them. That's the sad part. So what I did like about this comment, though, is that right away in that video, I was like, hey, listen, you know what? This might not be the best idea, but, you know, together as a community, maybe we can come up with a better idea, right? So he suggests that we put restrictions on how many friends you can have. You can only play technically with friends. I think this messes up the casual player more, to be honest, because you have to have them as your friend now to play with them. So there's no more looking for group, right? You can't just, you know, hop into a Discord and say, hey, what's your name? I'm just going to go look for a group. Here you go. I think it messes up the casual player more also because a lot of people don't have friends maybe that play this game, or maybe they did and they're looking for new friends, and they go to Discords or groups and they're like, hey, you know, is anyone, you know, down to play tonight? And someone says, yeah, I'm down. But with this idea, you would have to be like, okay, well, we can play tomorrow because, you know, it takes so long for us to become friends and then eventually play. So I think this idea kind of messes the casual player up more, because now you have to like set up dates with these people, and you can't just like, you know, on a whim say, I have extra 2 hours, I want to find a group to play with on a random Discord. You can't do that anymore. I think that's way more restricting than you not just being able to dump some non-found in raid items in raid. At the end, he does say it's not even stopping them. That's the sad part. We don't know that for a fact yet. It's only been 48 hours. We still have to wait. And I'm sure we won't know if it's stopping them or not, because, you know, BSG will probably keep that data close to the chest. But again, we have to give this a little bit more time than 48 hours to figure out if it's working or not. So the next comment is actually more than one comment. It's something that a lot more than just one person felt in the comments, but I did just take these two and I'll talk about it right now. So the first one says, who cares about RMT though? Like, real question, does some dude paying money for like 5 million rubles really affect the economy? And the other one says, bro, who the hell even cares about the RMT problem? It's easy as hell to make rubles. If someone has that big of a problem about making money, let them, not like it causes a problem to actual players. Someone commented, agreed, this is a fix that hurts new players to combat an issue that is nearly non-existent. So even though, like, let's just put it out there, like, it's against TOS to buy rubles with real money. That's against Escape from Tarkov TOS, but let's just throw that out the window at the moment. They're saying that if a new player wants to get 5 million, who cares? It's not really going to do anything for them anyways. Like, we all know that you can give a new player 10 million rubles, and this game is so difficult that it just won't even really help them. It's just going to put that back into the economy. Like, that money will just go back into like the players that really do legit play the game. I get that. Now, the problem though is not the person that's buying the 5 million, even though it's against TOS. The problem is the person that is supplying the 5 million rubles. That person, I'm guessing 99% of the time, is a cheater. So yes, cheaters very much do affect us all the time. And that's why RMT is an issue. It's, you know, yes, the person getting the money is going against TOS, but the real problem is the person supplying it. And one thing that this guy said, he said, it hurts new players to combat an issue that is nearly non-existent. Obviously, this is a very existent problem, and, you know, BSG is just taking a calculated risk. It's not like they dropped this on the community thinking, oh, everyone will be fine with this. They knew it was going to cause how much ruckus it caused. They knew people weren't going to like this, but at the end of the day, they you know, weighed the pros against the cons, and they just saw that this actually might hinder and get rid of some of the cheaters in the community. This comment's a little bit longer than I'm going to talk about, but a lot of people are feeling the same way as this person. You know, he brought up the same thing a lot of other people brought up, and it needs to be talked about. So here's an opinion no one is talking about. Well, actually a lot of people are talking about this, but people who would buy a specific item are now just going to buy carries, which is even worse. When paying for a carry, a hacker has to keep them alive, which means they will be hyper aggressive to do so. I'd argue some RMT hackers try to lay low while farming so as to avoid getting banned as soon. More people buying carries means more hackers that have to kill any threats, which will mean a lobby with a hacker will definitely feel the presence almost every time. This is a lazy and dumb solution. Change my mind. This doesn't solve anything. It just shifts how the RMT does business, arguably makes the community suffer from hackers even more. So you are right definitely, I think carries are going to be the way that people do it now. Like it's just probably going to be the easiest loophole as of right now for this to happen. I do want to point out something. You said the hacker needs to keep this Timmy alive, so they're going to be hyper aggressive to do that. But then after that, you say, I'd argue some RMT hackers try to lay low while farming so as to avoid getting banned. So yeah, you kind of hit the nail on the head. They probably do lay super low in every raid, or at least try to, because they don't want to get reported. They just want to suck up all the loot and then get out and then rinse and repeat. Where now, if they have to protect this Timmy, they're going to have to, you know, kill some people. They're going to get reported a lot more, which means they might go through more accounts, which costs them more money. And the other side of this that I see is a lot of people want, you know, the red key card. They want the like all the lab cards, or they want an RR or a sick case. And you won't be able to just give them that anymore. You will be able to go into raid probably and just be like, here's a bunch of loot. But they have to be level 15 to get the, you know, best price for all that loot, or else it's kind of a waste. And the other thing is, how much money are they going to be making? Like, if they're not finding those big, huge items, how much money are they going to be making every raid? So now, you know, a carry isn't going to be worth as much as, say, it was before, and how easy it was to get a full set of lab key cards, right? Because it's going to take a lot of time for you, when before all you had to do was go into a raid with a person and drop it for them and they got everything. Now you have to spend what, an hour or two maybe with this person trying to get all the loot. I don't know if people are going to do it as much. This will be the last comment, and then I'll give my 2 cents now that I have more time to think about this change. So after spending the morning reading comments on Video's Discord, it seems the only people who think this is a good idea are those who have no real life casual gamer friends. As I have several thousand hours over a few wipes, the easiest way I can get friends who are new players up to speed is by bringing them bags full of hideout craft items. This helps them get caught up if they join mid-wipe, and having fun with those of us who had time to grind faster. By taking that ability away, BSG is only limiting their player base further. Not to mention, this is counterintuitive for the gamer that touts realism. It just makes no sense. So I have been hearing comments like this quite a bit, mostly though on the lines of like, I have keys for my buddies that have a quest and I just want to give them the keys instead of them trying to find them. Or like, I want to go to labs with my buddy, I want to drop him a labs key card. You're the first person to ever hear about, like, I bring them bags full of hideout craftable items so that they can upgrade their hideout. But I don't think that's bringing someone up to speed. Plus, you turn into this dead end with your hideout because you need to get like therapist level 2 eventually, mechanic level 2, before you can even go to like certain sections of the hideout. So you are giving them, you know, a good start, I would say, of this hideout. And yes, I've said hideout too much, but you are giving them a good start. But I don't think it does much for a new player. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think the hideout is that big of a deal. I don't think you're going to be bringing them up to speed by giving them a good hideout. It does very minimal for a player. What would help them more is just if you played with them and showed them where to find items. And I don't, maybe I'm wrong on this, and you should comment again. I would love for you to hopefully you find this, you've seen this, and you can explain it, or someone can explain it that is watching this, because to me, having a couple of hideout level 1 upgrades isn't going to do too much for you, you know? So my final opinion on this whole thing, because now I've had more time to think about it and discuss it, I'm pro this whole change. I don't see enough negative where we could benefit so much from it. And you know, the one question I ask people when they come in and they talk about this is, let's just for example say this gets rid of 15% of the cheaters in Tarkov. Would this change be worth it? Or even 10%? If this gets rid of 10% of the cheaters in Tarkov, would it be worth it? This inconvenience? I think it would. I would like a lot less cheaters in this game. And for someone to be like, oh, cheaters aren't that big of a deal, blah, blah. You have to understand that every day on the Reddit and on the forums, there's like there's so many new posts about how many cheaters there are, how they just got cheated, how the cheaters are rampant in this game. So obviously they're focusing on this because the community is so vocal about it. So if this gets rid of 10-15%, is it worth it? I think it is. I think we should just give it a shot and see if it does anything. If it doesn't, hopefully they'll revert it. I really hope so. But again, we won't know because, you know, they might keep it close to the chest, but I'm sure Nikita will say, yeah, we've seen, you know, maybe on the next Tarkov podcast, he'll say, yeah, we've seen a huge decrease in cheating lately because the RMTers, a lot of them have moved on to other games or are just done with this game at the moment. So let's give it a chance. And again, thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I do a ton of EFT content here. And until next time, I'll talk to everyone later.